Hi everyone, I'm Mena Angelfire and welcome back, explorers, to Tiny Tales. Be sure to also look at the description below for all credits given. And with that said, let's continue the Homecoming Fire. The Homecoming Fire, Part 3, Home. The white butterfly flew over to Mimiko, landed on her, and then flew over to land on the infant Bosmer. It didn't take long for Mimiko to figure out what had happened to the little one's parents. To see so much death around the little one made her heart break. Mimiko gingerly picked up the infant and held the Bosmer child close. Once the leopard's cubs were done feeding, she moved over to a carrier meant for them and brought it to the Khajiit healer mage. Mimiko got the cubs ready to move and was surprised when the leopard left of her own accord to accompany them. Mimiko held the Bosmer infant close to herself as she also carried the leopard cubs. Eventually, they had rejoined the other Khajiit of the Moonlit Paws. It wasn't too long before she found out what had transpired. While the rest of them were fighting the slavers, the leopard had followed Mimiko to where Helene was, and simply padded over to the Khajiit child and lay down beside her. One Eye was brought before all in the Moonlit Paws. He was stripped of any titles he may have held. He was also cursed many times by those he had given orders to that they had disliked. That's when it got out that those who had served as co-leaders went on missions they never came back from, and the one he was going to target next was none other than Mimiko. She simply wanted to teach, and that was it. But apparently, since One Eye was no longer in charge of the group, it would then fall to his second in charge. She sat down by her cub and the leopard's cubs still in their carrier, and the Bosmer baby still in her arms. As the Khajiit warriors brought One Eye nearby on the way to the wagon meant for prisoners, the leopard gave a very low growl as she rose to her paws. She took a defensive position in front of Mimiko and all 5 little ones. One Eye, startled, looked around for the sound, and as he saw the leopard, he panicked and ran. The Khajiit warriors that had been escorting him hit him over the head, making him pass out right away. Mimiko rested a paw on the leopard, telling her to be calm. Once she had recounted her encounter with the leopard and the Bosmer infant, it was decided by all present that the leopard should be known as Mara, named for Mara, one of the 9 divines. And as they gave last rites to the people of the caravan, it was revealed that Mara had another 3 cubs earlier on, but they had been killed by Khajiit that now only had 1 eye, due to Mara taking the other. As time passed, Mimiko became known as Mimidra. She had adopted the Bosmer infant as her own and named the little one Minitha. The Bosmer archer had said that she would teach the young one how to use arrow and bow and how to move silently when the time came. Mara, during times when both Helene and Minisa had fallen asleep while playing, moved her cubs by them and then lay down to give them all a warm place to rest. And there were times that Mara even treated Mimidra as one of her older cubs as well. As time passed, they had moved themselves into the Tenmore forest and hid their settlement well. Mimidra had relented and finally accepted leadership of the Moonlit Paws. What had started as a mission to rescue those of Helene's village from enslavement became something they did for even more peoples. Every once in a while, they would see a white butterfly on Mara or someone else. Eventually, both Helene and Minisa got their titles, or in the case of Minisa, her name. Mimidra had wanted to give both her cubs the co-title, but when Minisa mentioned she kept worrying her big sister because she was too fast and that she was sorry for that, Mimidra had changed her mind, and thus Helene became known as Helenico, and Minisa became known as Minisa the Swift. Mimidra paused as she smiled at the gathering as the homecoming fire continued to crackle in the night. This one's tales are done now, Mimidra had said as she petted Mara's head between her ears. The healer maids gave everyone around the homecoming fire a glare before she spoke again. While you were away, it was declared by others, not this one, that this one would be clan mother, and that this place will be home from now on. The people who had sat to listen to the tale Mimidra told winced as they heard the healer mage's displeasure in her voice. We all voted to call this place Pana, the Bosmer archer said with a smile, and with that the group continued to celebrate into the night. A family formed by the wicked endeavors of some and the subtle wing beats of another, who watched over families and protected them. In the hidden settlement of Pana, all those who had at one time or another been rescued by the Moonlit Paws finally came to rest for the night. And that is where the homecoming fire ends. But I'll be right back. I think I need to change. Okay, wig, makeup, everything. That's off. And I'm back. Okay, so, at the very beginning of the story, I said that it was based in part on a game called Elder Scrolls Online. And also, it was like a backstory thing for the character I played and a character one of my friends played. So, yeah, I did try to use some things like the way Khajiit would talk. They would refer to themselves in third person. So it was never I or stuff like that. It was more Khajiit say or this one say or yeah, and uh something also the business about the white butterfly. Apparently, according to their lore, Mara, who is one of the nine divines, is represented by a white butterfly. And one of the and yeah, there was a reason there in one of the things I read, apparently in some of the legends or whatever for the lore, Khajiit and Bosmer or Wood Elves were actually litter mates at one point until someone decided, nope, we're not going to allow that to happen. So yeah, either way, yeah. Um, so there's that. And the other thing, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but Pana, Pana, actually in the Khajiit language, or what goes for it, actually means home. So, it was a bit redundant. Either way, I think it's about time for me to wrap up this story and episode and leave you all with this. If you have been enjoying my content, please feel free to leave a like and or subscribe. You can also leave a comment down below in the comment section. Be sure to hit that notification bell because YouTube doesn't always like to share. Be safe, be healthy, and as always, be true to you. Mena Angelfire, signing off.